Hi, y'all. Welcome back to the Open to Life podcast. This is episode 2. And today I want to talk about how did I learn fertility awareness methods or natural family planning, and how can you start learning too? So I first was introduced to fertility awareness methods or NFP through the pro-life movement. Okay, but let me back up a little bit, okay? Vocab. What do I mean when I say NFP? NFP stands for Natural Family Planning. Now, when I say natural family planning, I'm not talking about your grandma's rhythm method, okay? I repeat, I am not talking about your grandma's rhythm method, okay? I am talking about scientific body literacy, fertility awareness methods that use biomarkers, your biological markers, to know when you are fertile or when you are not fertile. And then based on your intentions of becoming pregnant or postponing, abstaining from pregnancy, equals when you engage in sex, you do the math. Okay, so I remember once hearing in the Charting Towards Intimacy podcast with Ellen Holloway, I believe she said her definitions of fertility awareness methods are, like I said, fertility awareness methods are those various methods that teach you the biomarkers and then help you choose on when you want to have sex to create a new human life. But with natural family planning is the discernment of what God is calling you to, whether God is calling you to make a child or not. It is the discernment based off of your intentions and then implementing that through fertility awareness methods. So NFP, natural family planning, FAM, fertility awareness methods. Okay, so how did I get started learning FAM NFP? And I'm using it kind of interchangeably right now, but when you first learn, or when I first learned, I was just dating my now husband at the time, and I was invited to a gala, a benefit dinner by the organization Natural Womanhood. And Natural Womanhood, to my knowledge, is at the forefront of presenting natural family planning, FAM, in a very logical, secular way that makes girls want to ditch contraception and to live aligned with their bodies, with their cycles. There's a lot of blogs that they put out, and there's so much information that you can find through their website, which I believe is naturalwomanhood.org. Not a sponsored podcast, by the way, but Natural Womanhood, if you want to sponsor me, feel free. I'm here. You know where to find me. But so that's how I first learned about this world of fertility awareness, and that when it comes to our bodies, there is a language that's happening with our fertility. Our bodies are giving us signs, the biomarkers, biological markers on when we are fertile or when we're not fertile. And when you don't speak a certain language, you can't, benefit from the gifts, the life of that language, what the language can open up for you. But when you learn the language, then you live a new life. You're in a new world. So similarly, our bodies are telling us the language of our fertility, of our cycles. But unless you learn to speak that language, you're not benefiting from the beauty that is this language. So I was like so, just excited to learn about this world of fertility awareness methods. And at some point, I reached out to my contact who is Jackie Aguilar. Love you, Jackie. And I reached out to her, who is a Creighton practitioner, and I asked her that I would love to start learning this for the sake of just my health. And would you be willing to teach me? Is it okay if my boyfriend comes along for these lessons, even though we were living out chastity? I mean, you never stop living out chastity, but at that point, when you are single and unmarried, then chastity includes not having sex. So she was open to that, and Jerry, I believe, came with me to every single one of my sessions with my Creighton practitioner, Jackie, to learn the Creighton method. And the Creighton method, I heard someone say it once, is like the really intense, like master PhD program on learning your mucus. Now, oh my gosh, she said mucus, so gross. Boo, 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 boo. Yes, I said mucus. I don't think mucus is a dirty word. And I try to use it interchangeably with white flow. I've heard it said that way. I've also heard it said as cervical fluid. Now, when I say mucus, I'm not talking about arousal fluid. These are two different things, girly pops, okay? There's arousal fluid, which is fluid that naturally produces when you are sexually aroused to act as a lubricant. And then there's the mucus that is produced to help sperm live and swim upstream to meet the egg. Okay, so when I say mucus, cervical fluid, white flow, I'm not talking about arousal fluid. Two different things. Okay. So Creighton is like the PhD of learning your mucus. It is very intense with the different descriptors. And I remember learning with the big chart and the stickers of the green days and the white days when you have the mucus and the red days when you have your blood. And at the time, based off of my cycles, I was showing signs of being low in progesterone. I would have like 6-7 days of menstruating, but the last few days would be like brown flow, which is not a sign of health, because a healthy period is red blood, fresh blood. Brown blood shows that blood is old and has been trying to leave. So I would have that brown bleeding at the end of my period, and I would have very short cycles, meaning the length between starting my period and starting my next period. So it would be like 22 days of a whole cycle. And ideally, a healthy cycle length is like 28 days, 30, 35 days, but not 22, 23. And I would also struggle with insomnia. And I remember thinking like, oh, it's just a coincidence. I'm on my period. I'm really stressed right now. And it's just a coincidence that I'm having trouble falling asleep. But then, like, okay, at what point do you say, this doesn't seem like a coincidence anymore, because it always happens at this time. So I would have the insomnia. I feel like I would become a totally different person and become very angry with my then boyfriend. Sorry, Jerry, love you. So all those things just pointed to the possibility of having progesterone deficiency. So my practitioner pointed that out and suggested that I go to seek out professional help from a NAPRO OBGYN. So NAPRO stands for Natural Procreative Technologies, which are more ideally holistic in their approach to find root causes and help with actually healing the body instead of hurting the body, masking the body with hormonal contraception. Because that's easily what some other doctor could have said, like, oh, let's just put you on birth control. But birth control acts as a band-aid or as a mask that puts fake synthetic hormones in you and doesn't actually solve whatever the underlying issue was. So I went to an OBGYN who sure enough agreed that it sounded like I was dealing with low progesterone. And once I got prescribed bioidentical progesterone, y'all, my life changed. I was able to start sleeping. My cycles were much longer in length between starting one period and getting the next. It was like 30 days, which felt like heaven to have so many more days in between starting my next period. And if you're not aware, progesterone is sometimes can be a cause of miscarriage if a woman is deficient in that. Progesterone is really important for sustaining a pregnancy early on, hence why with the abortion, with the chemical abortions, when the first pill cuts off progesterone, starves the baby from the nutrients that is necessary, the baby is going to die without that progesterone. So it felt like not only had my life changed to feel like a healthier version of myself, but I was very thankful to know that already in that moment I was doing what needed to be done proactively to hopefully prevent any future miscarriages from happening. So I first learned the Creighton method, and just for health. And that is a pitch I want to give to y'all. You do not have to be engaged to be married, seriously dating someone, preparing for engagement to start learning FAM. You can start today. And the best time to start was yesterday, okay? The best time to start is immediately, if not sooner, because this, first and foremost, is for your health. Then you can add in family planning. But it helped change my life, and if you feel like there are deficiencies, hormonal imbalances within your own body, this is only going to help you and not hurt you to learn the signs, the signals, the biomarkers, the language of your body. So when I was engaged, I learned my second fertility awareness method called symptothermal, which is the symptoms of like the cervical fluid with thermal, with body temperature. I learned it through Couple to Couple League. I honestly did not have the best experience at that time. I would like to retake the course. It was just like a few days course. I don't think there was much to it, which really frightens me. Imagine if for couples who seriously want to avoid when they're starting out in marriage and then they're doing their marriage prep with only the 2 days of the Couple to Couple League class, and then it's just send you on your way, okay, good luck avoiding that baby. But again, we're called to be open to life, but it just really worries me when I meet people who are like, yeah, I started learning NFP a month before my wedding. Okay, so you had about one cycle to work with before your wedding night. That's not giving you much room to learn your body. When I started learning, I had maybe a couple years before I got married, so I was able to see how my body was when I was sick, when I was healthy, when I was exercising, when I was traveling, when I was under a lot of stress, because all those factors can affect your cycle. And imagine the learning NFP like the month or like 2 months before your wedding, and that is when I feel like so much stress is heightened in your life, and then you've only given yourself like 2 cycles to learn. So I always tell girls, start learning now. It does not hurt you to learn now, okay? Like, what is the harm when you are learning for your health now, and you can use that same information later on with your husband for creating a new human life or postponing the creation of a new human life? Like, it does not hurt you. It can only help you. So when I was engaged, we started learning the couple to couple league, and then I think towards the end of our engagement, and we were only engaged like 5 months, y'all. I was so extra. I'm the fertility awareness queen, y'all. I'm so extra. I'm not your average girl. I'm just an ordinary girl. And I wanted to learn the Marquette method of NFP, which is what category is that? Symptohormonal method, I believe, which involves testing your hormone levels in your urine. So we learned that in just like one day with the instructor, and then I think she gave a video and just sent us on our way. I was like, good luck. And again, these type of fertility awareness instructions that are just like pat on the back, good luck, you got this, kids. It really frightens me for people who, I don't know, for whatever situation, are really needing to postpone having a child right away, and then it's just like, good luck. But then we're called to be open to life, right? So anyway, so then we learned the Marquette method, which involves the clear blue monitor. And traditionally, the clear blue monitor is meant to track when you are ovulating, and it does that by testing for your rising estrogen levels and then your rising LH, luteinizing hormone levels. When you are getting close to ovulation, your estrogen rises, and when you are ovulating or have ovulated, your luteinizing hormone level spikes, it peaks. So the clear blue monitor can help you with tracking, like, oh, you're low, your levels haven't risen yet, and now you're high. It's a high day because your estrogen has risen, and now it's peak day because your LH has surged. And with that information, you can choose based off of your intentions and your discernment. Do we create a baby during the fertile period, or do we abstain? I was listening to an episode of Trent Horn on his podcast on YouTube, and he was mentioning this analogy from, I guess, another theologian that talked about NFP being open to life can never be a contraceptive mindset, because contraception literally means against conception. You are contra the conception of a new life, contraception. But NFP, that is always open to life, involves never having a hormonal or physical barrier between you and your spouse. So, and a good analogy of this, of engaging in the infertile period versus the fertile period, but always being open to life, is like when you plan your wedding on one weekend when you know your cousins probably most likely can't be there and won't show up, but you go ahead and send the invitations anyways just to be kind. Now, if the cousins do show up, it may be a bit convenient. It may throw you on a little bit of a whirlwind, but they weren't unwelcomed. You did invite them. You did send the invitation for the cousins to come, even though maybe you weren't expecting the cousins to come because you were in your infertile window. You planned the wedding on the weekend when most likely you thought they would not be able to come, but they came anyways because you were open to the cousins coming. Now, engaging in sex in the fertile window is like when you plan the wedding on the weekend when you know most likely, yes, the cousins are going to come. Hope that analogy makes sense. And I did hear on the Charting Towards Intimacy podcast with Ellen Holloway that, you can provide the egg and your husband can provide the sperm, but only God can provide the human life and make a new human from that unity. So even if you engage in sex during the fertile window, it's still up to God whether or not a new human life comes into creation. So even if you plan the wedding on the weekend when the cousins should be able to come and you send the invites for the cousins to come, maybe the cousins won't come. You don't know. But that's being open to life and letting God be the creator. So I wanted to mention that's how I started learning NFP. Okay, and now I'm extra. Okay, I'm not your average girl. I'm not your average fertility awareness girly pop. But I wanted to also mention to y'all, the audience, if you're interested, how can you start learning NFP today? Okay, and I'm going to figure out how can I leave links down below, how can I send this information to you to be able to navigate this for yourself and start out. So, some great resources through naturalwomanhood.org are getting started and choosing a method. There is a good articles on things to consider if you're trying to avoid or achieve pregnancy, and how to choose a class, the different types of fertility awareness methods, Billings ovulation, Chart Neo, Creating Fertility Care, Couple to Couple League, Fertility of the Americas, FEM, Marquette University Method, NFP International, Sympto Pro, la-di-da. So, Natural Womanhood also has what they call the Complete Guide to Fertility Awareness Methods. I think that's somewhere probably on their homepage, but again, I'm going to do my best to link these things. Natural Womanhood also provides a free 20-minute consultation with a guidance advisor if you feel like you're having cycle or fertility problems, or if you're maybe wanting to get matched, if you have unanswered cycle questions or family planning fertility questions, they have a 20-minute free consultation call. And what else is the other thing? There is a free opportunity to learn FAM NFP with the Catholic Women and Couples NFP.org, ccnfp.org. I believe they work with My Catholic Doctor, and I assume you don't have to be Catholic to benefit from this service. I don't actually know. I'm sure they give priority to Catholics, or I'm sure it's Catholics who are most interested in this. But even if you're not Catholic and are interested in learning for free, I believe what they do is they match you up with a provider who can instruct you in the method you're interested in, and it will be covered through your insurance. Since I believe there's some federal law that insurances should be able to cover birth control. Not that NFP is birth control, but as a method of family planning, it's also covered underneath that umbrella through insurances. So if you have insurance, this is one way through Catholic Women and Couples NFP, cnfp.org, you can learn for free by getting matched with a provider that is covered through your insurance. And that's how it is free. Again, I will do my best to link these things. Now, another great resource to find an instructor that I don't think would be free to you is through readyourbody.com. They have a fertility awareness educators directory, and Read Your Body is my preferred fertility awareness charting app. So many apps out there tell you that you're fertile during this time. You should be ovulating right now. You're going to be getting your period soon. And I personally don't like that. I like to be the person in charge of my body and not letting some algorithm tell me when it thinks my body is going to ovulate or have my period. With the Read Your Body app, you can choose what things you want to chart, what things you want to be looking out for, the biomarkers you want to be putting down, keeping track of. And then it's up to you with that information to write out what that means to you. You can chart your temperature, you can put in stamps with different colors, you can put in if the mucus was low or high, or if you had sex that day or not, la da da. Love that app. So readyourbody.com. And what is another resource I want to share? Okay, last resource I want to share is iudalert.com. Through iudalert.com, I believe there's stories and blogs on the dark side of IUDs. I believe it's more than just IUDs. I think it also includes vaginal rings and birth control shots, especially the copper IUD. I think the copper IUD is marketed in a way that it's hormone-free, but hormone-free doesn't necessarily mean side effect-free. There is a dark side to IUDs. And so that is a good resource if you're someone who's on not the pill, but you're on other methods of contraception and wanting to learn more on reasons why maybe you should get off, or reasons why to encourage a loved one to consider getting off. So those were a lot of resources from naturalwomanhood.org, the Catholic Women and Couples Fertility Awareness Methods, and Read Your Body. I hope that was all helpful. I just wanted to give like some practical guidance on where you can start. And the best first place to start when you are interested in learning FAM or NFP is by, one, choosing a method that you want. And Natural Womanhood has a quiz that I mentioned, and I will try to link, that helps you kind of decipher what method you want to learn. Now, I learned multiple methods because I'm extra like that, but you don't gotta be like me. But you can be if you want to. Like, knowledge is power. So the best first thing would be to choose a method that you want, and the quiz will help you with like, what is your budget, what is your level of effort you want to put into, what are the factors that are most important to you, la 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 la, and then pick a method, find an instructor. Those are the two first things you need to start with when it comes to learning NFP, FAM. Pick a method, find an instructor, and hopefully the resources that I gave will help you to accomplish those things. So I think that is it for now for the Open to Life podcast. I hope you are inspired and ready to launch into learning FAM, NFP, the biomarkers, the language of your fertility, your body, to become literate in what your body is saying, to learn the language that is your fertility, And like I said, the best time to start is now. It was yesterday, actually. Can't hurt you, can only help you. Alrighty, y'all. Open to Life podcast, over and out.